Hello again. Welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Pixelgaard. So, today we're actually kind of recording. I'm in the middle of prepping and getting some stuff together for our tournament team. And originally I wasn't going to start it until I did it on camera, but I ended up kind of starting it the other day while I was editing some footage. You can see I've actually got some Pokemon breeding. I've got our Swellow and a Tallow right there breeding, and then over here I've got a couple Ghastlies breeding. Okay, their egg's not ready, and I've got an egg on me. I actually went ahead and started this, and I started catching some just very common Pokemon that we see all the time. I actually just started capturing those for our team because I've done some planning and I figured out exactly what I want for our team. You can actually see I've upgraded our furnace over there too, which is cool. This video, of course, it won't be coming out until the tournament actually happens, which will actually be this weekend. I'm a little bit later than what I wanted to be getting started, but that's okay. That's okay. I think everybody was a little bit behind because it was like, oh yeah, it's almost time for the tournament. But anyways, you can see in here I've actually spent a bit of time catching, that's for Gym Team over there, the Zubats, but I did catch some Houndours, and I've got the shiny one here just because, and actually, yeah, and there's my Houndoom. I've got those, and then I caught a bunch of Ghastlies, and I caught some Tallows, and I also caught some Machops. I'm still on the fence. Originally, I was actually wanting to use Meowth, and I was setting everything up in the tournament, in the team builder planner like I showed you guys before, which, by the way, if you're setting up for like a little cup, it's really nice because you can set your level to 5, and then once you get your IVs, you can set those in, and then you can scale your EVs, and it won't allow you to scale them to where there wouldn't be a benefit. So you can actually kind of figure out how you want to do your EVs. And oh, and then I've caught some Digletts here, and this is actually the breeding pairs. You can see they've got some power items, actually the same power items. We'll talk about that here in just a second. But I've been hatching eggs, and I was actually kind of letting these stockpile, but these are actually Pokemon that have hatched from eggs. The Ghastlies and the Tallows, and they're actually not max speed, but I set them up. I actually moved, you can see I moved this ranch block from over there over to here, just to breed these Tallows, and then the Ghastly is just set up on there because it's it's part poison, so it breeds actually at a decent speed. You can actually see on the right there, that's something related to testing. We'll get into that later. That's our tournament point currency system. And actually, the other day, I gotta remember where I put it, though. Right here. I got a ranch upgrade. And we might actually apply this to this one. This is actually the slower of the breeding. This is, of course, normal flying types on the Tallows. And they benefit from a lot of, like, really weird stuff, like glass and things like that for the flying. I've got it set up over here because they benefit from grass and stone as well. So, but I'm going to put this ranch upgrade in, and we're going to go, let's see, this would be +X. And I actually want to put it on the +X side, I do believe. And the reason being is because there's more stone back in there. I don't know if it's actually going to make an effect. Likes Tallow. Yeah, that's actually an upgrade over what I had, if I recall. So it's going to be a little bit faster. I'm not necessarily going for speed on these and, maxing them out or anything like that like we did with our poison ones. The reason being, I've still got time to get these bred. You can see Ghastly's more attracted to Ghastly every day. But yeah, I've just got these breeding. Ghastly, these will be the first of our... These will be the first 2 of our 6. Ghastly is going to be kind of a special sweeper, just a lot of coverage moves, special attacker. Ghastly's kind of nice because I'm actually going for a lot of speed in my team. And Ghastly's going to be one of our kind of like speedy type special attackers, and I'm actually going to give it a life orb, I do believe. Just to boost that damage so it just comes out and just can hopefully one-shot pretty effectively. And Yeah, we're going to be talking about a little bit of stuff this episode. Tallow is actually going to be kind of a fun one because Tallow has an ability called Guts, and I absolutely love this ability. I've actually used it in some of my comp teams on the, or some of the comp team members, I should say, on the on the canon games, and if we pull it up, summary, yeah, right here, Guts. It boosts the attack stat if the Pokemon has a status condition. And so we're actually going to be giving our Tallow a Flame Orb. So it's just on fire all the time. The nice thing about Guts is it removes, of course, if a Pokemon has Burn, it has lower physical attack. But our Tallow is going to have Burn, and since it has Guts, it negates the physical attack decrease from Burn. Kind of the options are like Toxic Orb, or I guess you could use like Black Sludge or something like that. Also Flame Orb, anything that gives the holder a negative effect. That's what we want to use because they're going to benefit from that, and it's going to boost their damage. And there's actually another attack that we're going to stack on top of that once we get it all set up that boosts the attack even further when they have Burn or Paralyze or Poison. So Tallow's going to have, when it's using that attack, it's going to be massive damage, like to the point that it should be able to one-shot most Pokemon, and it's going to have some decent coverage as well to go along with it. So Tallow, a lot of my Pokemon actually burn themselves out with the team that I'm building, but I think it's going to be fun to play with because they're using things like Life Orbs and setting themselves on fire. It's going to be like a flaming bird just coming in there and attacking. So we'll get more into that as time goes on. But one thing about the Little Cup, I'm not min-maxing stats. I think for most of the competition type stuff, I will probably, especially once I get the Destiny Knot, I'll be going for, serious IV breeding. But when it comes to the Little Cup, it's actually not as important with a Little Cup that you go for max IVs, because the way stats are calculated, with it only being a level 5 Pokemon, it takes the IVs and the EVs, and basically what they would have at 100, but it divides it by 20. Okay, so whenever you have, I don't know an exact math to give you, but let's say you have a Pokemon that has 18 in an IV stat. That's probably enough to give it. Say it's 18 in speed. Okay, that's probably enough to give it one extra speed point just on the IVs. But then if you do the EVs, each IV point basically is equivalent to 4 EV points, right? Hope I'm making sense here. And then so if you had so many points towards the 20 points that you would need to get the next point of speed, you could spec your EVs for that. So hopefully that makes sense. So basically you're just taking what their stat increases would be from their EVs and IVs, you're dividing them by 20. And of course, level 5 is 1/20th of level 100, so that's kind of how EVs and IVs. So it's actually not as important that you min-max your IVs so much. And also at this level, defense, special defense, HP is kind of nice. If you can get it as high as you can, it can change things. Same with defense and special defense, but I'm actually not focusing as much on those as I am speed and their attack stat. Those are going to be very, very important when it comes to a Little Cup, because if you can outspeed your opponent and one-hit KO them, because the thing about a Little Cup is your Pokemon, all the Pokemon are going to have about 20 HP, between like 14-ish to like maybe 21, 22 HP. That egg's done, yeah. And I need to actually be running around to hatch these eggs, but you're going to be using, thanks to TMs and move tutors and stuff like that, you're going to be using attacks that tend to be very high damage. So you're looking at a lot of one-hit KOs when it comes to a Little Cup, especially if you have good coverage and you can get super effectives, especially super effective stabs. And if you're not familiar with what stab means, that is same type attack bonus. And basically just means like whenever you have a Pokemon, say Swellow, which is a normal flying type, if it uses a normal or a flying type attack, it gets a slight boost to the damage because it's the same type as what it is. So that's what a stab move is. So especially if you can line up those like super effectives and especially super effective stab moves, you're going to be one hit KOing a lot. So I've kind of built the team around the idea of having good coverage with a lot of speed, not a whole lot of setup. There is one Pokemon that we're going to have that has Stealth Rock just so we can drop it down at the start of a fight. And I'm also going to have one Pokemon that has Rapid Spin to clear out anything like Stealth Rock. You know, somebody puts it out. But my idea is hopefully we can outspeed the opponent and do so much damage thanks to things like Life Orb and Guts that we can outspeed them, one hit KO our way through, and you know, not have too much issue on that front. As far as having to be really defensive. Because for a little cup especially, I don't like a lot of setup. You know, long setup chains where I'm like boosting my attack. And of course with Baton Pass banned, there's no real benefit to, you know, something like Swords Dance is great, but it's not great if you never get a chance to benefit from the attack, because you're basically spending a turn to get the Swords Dance up, and then if you don't outspeed your opponent, you may just get two shot and that's it, you know. So I'm kind of building around the idea of high power, fast Pokemon is what I've been doing. So I'm not going with any real tanky Pokemon within this team build. So anyways, I've got Ghastly is a very high damage, pretty decent speed, and we're going to be speccing at 4 speed. And natures, I'm actually not I'm not as concerned about natures with these, because it's actually only about a 1 point difference for the Pokemon. It's only about 1 stat point on some occasions too. Okay, so I would like to get a good nature for that extra stat point, but all the natures that I'm going to be shooting for and hoping for and trying for is going to be speed based. Because at the end of the day, speed, I think, is going to be the most important factor when it comes to our team. It's just fast Pokemon. Now, I'm not necessarily going with all the fastest possible Pokemon. Houndour isn't the fastest, but he does have pretty good speed, and especially if you build him for speed, you know, he'll be all right. And and then on these Pokemon, I'm actually shooting for 31 IVs for speed, so we can just max it out as high as we can and get it up around, if you get it around 20, I think in most cases, I think most people have the mindset of just going for buffing that attack. You know, they're going to go for natures and EVs and stuff that benefit attack or tankiness, you know, depending on the Pokemon, and overlooking speed, which I think speed is very, very important for a little cup. Especially because the Pokemon just don't have the HP pools to really take attacks, you know, and be as tanky. Even though, I mean, you can still build tanky Pokemon, but you get a good one-hit KO stab move, and it's pretty much game over there. So, but if we take a look here, this is box 5. So let's do Pokemon C to Asgaard 5, and we can see right here the Ghastlies and the Tallow Swellow combo that I'm breeding here. The Ghastlies, you can see that this is the one that has the Power Band, which is actually, whenever it's breeding, it passes on the special defense. It makes sure and passes on that special defense, because when you have, of course, whenever you have 2 parents and you're not using a Destiny Knot, then they're only going to pass on 3 IVs between, you know, the 2 parents. So not each parent, but between the 2 parents. So having it hold that power band, make sure that it passes on its special defense, because 30 special defense is pretty good. And generally Ghastly tends to be the target of a lot of special attacks. So getting that 30 special defense is kind of nice. And you can see I've actually picked one here that has decent defense, decent special attack. The special attack, it's not going to be passing on. We're actually passing on the special attack from this one, the 27. So you can see, I mean, 30 special defense, not bad. And of course, with it holding the power band, it's a 100% chance it's going to pass on the special defense. Now, the other parent has the power anklet, which passes on speed, and it has a speed stat of 31. That's a lot of the reason I caught a large amount of of each type of Pokemon is because I want to make sure, if nothing else, that we have at least one parent that has a 31 speed stat. So all the children will have a 31 speed stat and a 30 special defense stat, which is pretty good. And then the rest of it's going to be kind of random. It's going to get one more IV from one of the parents. I mean, it could either be the 29 attack, which is useless because we're building Ghastly as a special attacker. But it could also get that 27 special attack. It could get the 18 defense. It could get the 25 defense. You know, it's kind of random. So I'm just kind of breeding a bunch of them and just hoping for the best. And I'm actually not running Everstones because, like I said, natures aren't as important. I would really like to get a nature that prioritizes speed. You know, and after a few breeding cycles, we should see that off of something. But as long as I get a decent special attack stat, it doesn't have to be super high because I think Ghastly's going to offset it with Ghastly's naturally high special attack stat and the Life Orb. I think it's going to be okay. Plus, Ghastly's just 4 different coverage moves that it's running, 2 of which are stab moves, which we'll talk about once we get to the moves. We'll talk about those more. So that's why I've got those items, the Power Band and the Power Anklet, because I want to make sure that their really good stats get passed on to the children. And then the Tallow here, the Tallow Swellow, the Tallow is actually holding the Power Anklet, which is the speed, and you can see that it's got 29 speed. I didn't get a 31, but 29 is still not bad, and I can make up for it with EVs, so it's actually not a big concern. Because I looked in 29 speed, I'm not really going to lose out on any possible speed stat or speed points, stat points, doing that. So, but you can also see it's got 21 HP, 28 attack, both of which are pretty decent. Defensively, the Tallow is poor. And then the Swellow also has a Power Band, and you can see it's got a 26 special defense. I didn't put the one for attack on there, and that's because both parents have 28 attack. So ideally what I'm shooting for is a parent or a child that's going to have that 29 speed, it's going to have that 26 special defense, and attack gets passed on from the parents, which is 28, which is a 1 in 4 shot that attack is going to get passed on to the child. So it would come out to be 28 on attack, 26 on special defense, and 29 on speed. And then the HP, defense, special attack would get randomized. I would like the HP and defense to be decent. I would love to have the HP and defense off of this one, but that's not going to happen. But if we just get something decent on the HP and defense, then that'll be okay. I haven't fully planned out my EVs because, of course, it all depends on how the IVs turn out, what we need to spend on EVs. So that's what I've got breeding there. If we take a look here, we've also got some Digletts, and we can see that, I'm not sure, yeah, I've got a 30 speed on a Diglett there, which speed is the most important stat, and then attack, there's a 31 HP. It's kind of nice. I might actually use that. We'll see. Let's see, that's a female, and then the 31 HP is a female. Okay. I mean, I could pass it on, though. But there's a 28 attack. Yeah, looks like that's the best one. 28 attack's not bad. So I might, and that's actually good HP, good defense. This one doesn't happen to have... Where's the one with the really good speed? Yeah, that one's got a special defense of 0. So special defense is just going to be something that I'm going to hope gets randomized to be decent, because both of these have terrible, terrible special defense stats. 0 and 4. It really can't get any worse than that. But and then Machop, like I said, that one I don't think I'm going to keep. I was catching it, and originally I was planning on doing a Machop because it has an ability called No Guard, which means all of its attacks will always hit, all of its opponent's attacks will always hit. Okay, No Guard's kind of nice, and then you couple it with the move called Dynamic Punch, which has a 100% chance to confuse the enemy, does a lot of damage, but only has a 50% accuracy. But with Machop not being able to miss, it's a very, very powerful combo. But Machop, I'm not for sure about because it doesn't have the speed that I really want on this team, but it's still kind of up in the air. And actually, at one point, I was wanting to catch some Meowths. And the reason being, Meowth, when I was building it in the team builder, because that's where I was doing it, I was like, oh, I could do a Meowth that has Technician ability, which basically boosts low power attacks. Oh, that egg's done too. Okay, so I need to put up a Pokemon. It boosts low power attacks, and then I was going to run a normal gym on it and have Fake Out, so it could just pretty much come out and almost one-shot, if not one-shot, an opponent's Pokemon with Fake Out, which goes first, you know, and just fake them out. But then I realized, oh, Meowth doesn't learn Fake Out until level 9, even though it was, for some reason, the team builder was letting me put it on there, but I couldn't figure out a way. Looking through the, you know, how Pokemon learn moves on the wikis, there was no way for Meowth to have learned that by level 5, so I had to scrap that idea. So no Meowth on this team, sadly. So my team isn't totally solidified now, thanks to that issue, but everything else seems to be checking out pretty good. And then I've also, of course, I got all those Houndours, and I am planning on running Houndour because it's just a really good special attacker. And if we take a look here at box 4, and you can see, I'm just going to quickly go up through here. This is some of the other Pokemon. I mean, there's another Ghastly with 31 speed. I actually had a few. There's another one with 31 speed. I think I had 3 altogether that had 31 speed that I caught. Oh, and the Talos I caught here in the forest. Ghastlies I caught in the nether. Houndours I caught in the nether. And the Diglets I caught in the desert nearby, where I was catching Skorupi before. The Machops are just at the mountains over there by the base. But you can see right here, if we scroll down through Houndour, there's a 31 speed. Houndour was actually a funny one, and I'll explain why that is here. And I actually got kind of lucky, I think. I've got a Houndour here that has a 30 special attack stat and 31 speed, right? I was like, oh man, that's amazing. I'm going to use that one. And then I realized something. When I was looking through here, if we pull this up, you can see that that is my only male Houndour. All of them are females, except for that one male. I don't know why that happened. Like I caught all of the, well, I caught one in a desert, or two, maybe 2 in a desert, but most of these were caught in the nether. But for some reason, all of my Houndours are female except for this one male, but that happens to be the one that has a 30 special attack stat and a 31 speed stat. So, yeah, I was pretty happy about that. I will definitely take it. So, but yeah, right now I'm pretty much just breeding them, breeding these Pokemon to get better stats, right? I'm trying to basically play off the randomization of it. Now, technically, what you could do, especially if we had Destiny Knot, what we would do is we would take and we would breed these and get children that have, say, they've got the speed that we want, they've got the say special attack stat that we want, and it happened to get a good HP or a good special defense and, you know, a decent spread of stuff, and we would get that on both a male and a female, and then we would basically inbreed them. These children from the parents, inbreed them so that with the Destiny Knot, which passes on 5 IVs from a child, or from the parents to the children, well, in that case, there's one parent that has a 31 speed, and there's another parent that has a 31 speed, and so chances are you're going to end up with the 31 speed. That way you can run Everstone and Destiny Knot, which we'll get more into that later. I'm not going to cover that too much. The children that have hatched so far, we'll go ahead and pull those up real quick so you can see. Like right now, the main thing I'm doing is just breeding, so I've been doing a lot of this off camera, but just to kind of update you guys, you can see I've got a Ghastly here with a 30 special defense and a 31 speed. The other one also has 30 special defense, 31 speed. But you can see that the stats that came out, I mean, that's decent defense, decent HP, but horrible special attack. That one has awful special attack. Kind of decent defense, but high attack, which I don't benefit at all from. So these two are both kind of duds. We're not going to use these. And then we've also got a Tallow here. this one actually turned out pretty decent. You can see it's got a 9 HP, which is kind of on the low side, but we can kind of make up for that. 27 on attack, 17 on defense, 2 on special attack, 26 on special defense, and 29 on speed. It's actually not a bad tallow. HP is a little bit lower than I want. Special attack we don't need, so it's not a terrible one. I mean, I'd have to make up for the low HP with EVs, you know, but that's not too much of an issue, I don't think. Thing about tallow is it's going to be extremely fast. Tallow has a very high natural speed stat, and then if we stack speed on it, it's going to turn out pretty good. I didn't look at the nature. Bashful I'm not crazy about because it's nothing, you know. It basically increases and decreases the same stat, so you end up with nothing. So yeah, we're not gonna probably go with that one unless it turns out to be the best one that I get after a while of breeding. But you can see that it's attack stat and its speed stat are at 6 on each. Basically means it just has really high IVs in that stat, which of course it does. So I'm actually surprised the special defense isn't higher, but I think Tallow's base special defense is pretty low if I recall. So. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now with stuff. Like I said, I'm just kind of breeding. I might actually make some more breeding or ranch blocks or ranch stations. Man, this thunder and lightning all the time. I'm actually going to go sleep just to get rid of it, but I'll probably end up making some more, maybe, depending on how long the breeding kind of drags out. Because, I mean, it does take like an hour per egg. Or an hour for like 2 eggs. Lightning just hit somewhere. Sounded like. Yeah. So, anyways, I've got to breed these until I get ones that I'm happy with. I also have to breed Houndors and Houndors and Diglets and possibly Machops. I'm still, like I said, I'm still on the fence about that. And that 6th slot is kind of up in the air. I'm debating about running Staryu because it's another really fast attacker, but I'm still on the fence about that for a couple of reasons, so we'll see. But right now it's just a lot of breeding. Basically all the Pokemon, the Diglett, the Houndour, the Tallow, the Ghastly, will all prioritize speed followed by their attack stat. And then try to get decent on their defenses and their HP. But like I said, it's kind of an all or nothing kind of team because they pretty much burn themselves out with Flame Orb and Life Orb and all that. So we've got a new baby Ghastly. Let's take a look and see what its stats are like. We've got a 1 in HP, a 7 in attack, a 3 in defense. Then we've got a 27 special attack, a 30 special defense, and a 31 speed. Not terrible on the bottom end. I mean, the bottom end's actually kind of beautiful, but the top end, that attack, I mean, that HP and that defense is pitiful. It's pitiful. So I don't know for sure. Basically what I'm doing, I'm just breeding a whole bunch of them, and then we'll pick the best ones and go with it from there. So the leveling part's going to be pretty quick. It's basically just getting the Pokemon that you want, some decent stats on them, and getting the moves and stuff, because I know a lot of these Pokemon we actually need move tutors for, or if there are a few of them. So we're going to have to go out and hunt one of those. Yeah, it's going to be a thing. So, but yeah, I just wanted to pop you. Hey, shiny Rattata. Let's see if we can catch it. I actually caught a shiny Hoot Hoot last night, so. Yes, haha. That's what I've been using, by the way. I actually made 60 more quick balls. Actually a little bit more because I made some, and then I made 60 at once, which was awesome. And let's dump this into here. You can see my other shinies are pulled out because I had them going into breeding environments. So, which the Swellow ended up breeding, of course, but my Houndour. I haven't selected my breeding pairs just yet, so for the Houndor family. So, but yeah, I just want to pop you guys in here. I've actually got another egg that's about to hatch, so I'll hang out till that other egg is hatched. We could check that one and see. But I mean, I'm going to be hatching a lot of children, a whole bunch of children between cuts, basically. I just wanted to kind of spend a little bit of time in this episode just kind of talking about what I'm doing. I mean, a lot of it's off camera because I'm basically just running around. I don't have my bird, so I can't fly at the moment. So I will say that the week prior to these videos coming out, it might be a little bit lighter on Pixelgaard videos, but that's because I'm actually recording this, and, you know, it's taking a lot of time doing what I'm doing, but it's also not something that I can do or talk about before the tournament. So, okay, we got a baby tallow. Alright, so let's see what we've got here. We've got a tallow that has 28 in HP, 12 in attack. I hate to see that, because that could have been, I mean, the defense is a bit lower than I want, but, you know. But then we've got 3 in defense, 0 in special attack, which is a-okay by me. 26 in special defense, and 29 in speed. So not a bad one. I put this in the baby chest here. It's probably not the one. Why does it do that? I get 12 out of 11 sometimes. Whenever they hatch, I don't know. I don't know why that is, but yeah, so I'll bring you guys back whenever we hatch a bunch more children, or figure out, just, you know, maybe find a Pokemon that's like, okay, I've got to have that one, you know, or something like that. But I'll bring you guys back later.